this was a shocker for me. Jerome Henderson. And if that's not the most appropriate pitcher ever, by the way, for that, just saying, wow. We were a big fan of Jerome Henderson. I still remain so. I know we talked about him last year as a potential defensive coordinator. And even before Wink Martindale got fired, we're like, just give Jerome Henderson a shot. The man has worked magic with nothing at that secondary. No name secondary, and they do good. Obviously he has some safeties. But look at the corners he's got. Nick McCloud became a guy who actually was serviceable. Fabian Moreau, who's almost out of the league, became serviceable, and he's still in the league, by the way, guys. We never really had great corners at that position, except like the 1 year with Adoree Jackson, James Bradbury together, if you want to give that year. But even Adoree Jackson, he's a guy that Tennessee didn't even want. Point blank, didn't want him back.
No.
And Jerome Henderson made him good again. So, I don't get the hate. I really don't. I don't know why. I don't know if something happened behind the scenes here, so to speak. He's been with the Giants now. This has been, 4 years he's been with the Giants. And again, he was a runner-up for DC pretty much. He didn't announce it as, we almost went with Jerome Henderson. But it was kind of well-known knowledge that he was kind of the runner-up. He was even, during some of the college all-star practices and games and all, he was kind of representing the Giants there and everything. Look at even this year. Developed, and granted, listen, I don't want to put everything on the coach here, but look at the two guys we got in the secondary this year in the draft. Yeah. Tyler Newson, who is, we said, the best, safety in this draft coming into it, and the guy almost led all NFL rookies with tackles while he missing multiple games at the end of the season. Drew Phillips, who was a total shocker to a lot of people. We liked him as far as his athleticism, but we said going into it that he was an absolute project. And if you look at the tape, that's what you got, a project. And then all of a sudden this year he comes out and he's all over the place. He's stellar. He is, a guy that, again, in redrafts that they do, everybody loves to do, let's do the redraft for the 224 draft now that the season's over. He's a first round pick for a lot of people. That's how well he played this year, guys. So why you want to go ahead and fire him? Was it the interceptions? This team did go a long time with interceptions, a franchise record, 11 straight games of interception.
It wasn't like we're getting all the interceptions the past couple of years as it was.
No.
That's it.
And don't get me wrong, I love interceptions, guys. I really do. Obviously, it's a big potential game swing move at that point there. But you know what I'll take? I'll take a legit secondary without getting interceptions over a really, bad secondary that just happens to get a whole lot of interceptions.
Yeah,
it's Winston of secondaries.
Yeah, what do you have? With Diggs over in the Cowboys?
Yeah.
It's a hit or miss. He either lets up 100 and something yards a game and he might get you 2 interceptions, or you want a guy that lets up 40 yards and no interceptions.
I'll take the 40-yard guy every single day of the week. Yeah. And the other thing you could maybe say they're pinning on him is obviously this was I hate to say down year, but it was a down year for Deonte Banks. And the only reason I say down year is because he hasn't had a good year yet. Like, it wasn't a horrible rookie year, but it's like, I don't even know what to call a down year for him yet because he hasn't been in the league long enough. Obviously, this year was worse for him than it was last year. I know that Jerome Henderson publicly called him out, obviously, and the Giants did not like that. I'll tell you that for sure. Of everything I'm hearing, the Giants did not like that. They want everything staying in-house. That's how they want things. But you know what? Sometimes you got to call people out publicly, and sometimes it's the right move.
I was about to say, sometimes that's how you get a spark underneath the player's butt.
Oh, yeah.
Some people need to be babied or coddled. Some people need to be told you're playing like dog crap, and some people need to be like, you're playing like dog crap, and if you don't say something the whole world's going to know it.
Yep.
And then they have something to prove to the whole world.
And the whole world did know. The whole world was talking about him for weeks. Ever since that Eagles game, they were talking about him because he, dogged it on a chance to get a tackle there. So, this has been a topic that he had to address, and he did. And he didn't do it in a horrible, unprofessional way. It wasn't like he went on there ranting and raving and flipping out. That'd be a different scenario. He did what he had to do. Now, do you want to blame him on Deonte Banks not maybe forming into a legit number one corner? Maybe that's where they're at. I don't know. But I'll say this. The Giants picked a guy in the first round that you and I had a second round grade on. And they're trying to force, to me, a square peg in a round hole because he gave you nothing to show he is a first, a number one corner on a defense, at least a good defense.
Yeah.
And you forced him into that role. He failed at it miserably, lashed out like a child. Hate to, not trying to just dog Banks here, but let's be honest, that's what he did. Took plays off. It was issues on the sidelines, they were saying, because he got benched. Was the Steelers game, I believe he got benched for issues on the sidelines. I mean, that's issue. That's him. Like, we're not trying to be jerks about it. We're just calling it out like it is. So, maybe that's what it is. Mike Trier also got fired as well. He's the safeties coach. Again, I don't see what the problem is here. You got, Jason Pinnock, who was basically nothing before the Giants got him. Let's be very frank about that. The Jets cut him. They wanted to put him back in the practice squad, but the Jets cut him and let him loose to the world, which just tells you point blank that they didn't think, they thought enough of him to want him back, but not enough to make sure they got him back. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really, really liked him that much, you would have not exposed him to the world. That's where I'm at with that.
Give him the house. That's our guy.
And then you got, obviously, Xavier McKinney, who, developed into a very good player with the Giants, and then you got, Tyler Nubin now, who, again, had a great rookie year. I don't see how that's the problem. And this is something that's really starting to upset me because it's like, we all see the problems, right? Like, there's three parts of the team, at least coordinator-wise, obviously: offense, defense, special teams. Special teams wasn't the best this year. I'm not going to say otherwise. Wasn't the best.
Better than what it's been.
Wasn't the worst. Exactly. Especially with injuries at kicker and all that kind of fun stuff. Defense halfway through the season was leading the league in sacks. The defense was average in points per game. Okay. There's something there. Offense. The worst offense in the entire goddamn NFL. Let's fire defensive coaches.
That
makes some sense. That makes some sense. And when Giants are sitting around at their meetings, why are the fans so upset? Why are the fans not happy? This is why the fans are not happy. Because you're firing defensive coaches, and well-respected. It's not just me and Rob who have said nice things about Jerome Henderson, by the way, guys. Like, this is not just a random coach that we've all of a sudden got some, positive feelings going, oh, Jerome Henderson is going to be the guy. Like, no, Jerome Henderson is well thought of in this league. In fact, when he was there with Wink Martindale publicly said, this is the best defensive backs coach in all of the NFL. That's what he said. And the man has been doing very good work with a lot of roster issues, we'll call it that way.
Yeah.
And especially the corner position. He was a defensive backs coach for the Jets, the Browns, the Cowboys. He was a defensive passing game coordinator for the Falcons. He was our DB coach. We gave him a promotion even last year. The passing game coordinator. Give me something here, guys. Because I don't see it. And, people were thinking that maybe Shane Bowen would be the scapegoat. Doesn't look like it's Shane Bowen. Looks like it's Jerome Henderson. Unless there's something we don't know about, again, behind the scenes. I'm always going to give that room for maybe something happened. Maybe he was in a meeting and called Dable an a-hole or something. I don't know. We're not there. It's also possible Dable is an a-hole considering all the reports against them, but that's the whole.
Yeah,
that's
besides the point.
That's a whole other segment. But again, I don't get it, guys. I don't, and I think this is you're letting go of talent now, because we've already done that now twice this offseason now. You got the now the cutting, the firing of a very well-respected position coach that's done very good. They're letting Ryan Cowden, the executive, leave for the Patriots to go work with Vrabel again with no return whatsoever, guys. No return.
It's fantastic.
What the hell are we doing, guys? This is a cluster F in the making. I'm going to say it that way. Pretty nice. I didn't say the rest of the word.
Yeah.
This is what this is. And guys, guess what? You think last year was bad? Oh, you're taking away what a guy who's literally been called the best defensive backs coach in the entire league. You're getting rid of a guy who was an executive that got a lot of credit for this draft class. Because that's who Ryan Cowden is. Again, this is not a guy you hear on the news like crazy. He's a behind-the-scenes guy. But he's a guy that got a lot of credit for this draft class. And you're letting those guys out the building. When you are an NFL franchise, you cannot let good talent leave the building. When you are a bad one, you sure as hell can't.
Yeah, but those are the ones that do let good talent walk.
Yes, exactly. And I look at it as like two things here. Either something behind the scenes happened and should have been fixed, or he just made a really, really stupid move. Either way, it's a dumb move. But if you let him go without something behind the scenes we're not aware of, then that's one of the biggest bonehead moves the Giants will do this offseason, if not the biggest.
100%.
Because if they're just going to get a lackey in there that's going to go ahead and do everything Dable wants and make buddy-buddy with Deonte Banks, we're going to be in more trouble. Deonte Banks need to be sat down and told point blank, grow the hell up. And you know what? That's what Jerome Henderson did. Did it work? He played better at times with them. But there's issues. And, I don't like where this is heading, guys. I really don't. And I'm very already worried for 2025 with the Giants. I really am. And, yeah, as Deb just made a very good point, too. Who the frig is going to want to come here? It's a very valid
something we've been saying in the middle of the season. Like
we've been saying about players and coordinators and everything. Yeah, like especially, it's not even the fact that it's the Giants that we've been bad lately. Like that's a whole separate issue unto itself. You're gonna have trouble getting talent here with Brian Dable here. Two reasons: his reputation. That's one of them. He's got a reputation, guys. If you don't think that, then follow the news a little better.
Yeah, right.
Second thing. He's a lame duck coach. We all know it. If he doesn't start winning next year, he might not even make it the whole season. Point blank, might not make it the whole season. Should have been fired this offseason. But this organization is just making mistake after mistake already, guys. And we're not even 2 weeks past their last game.
Shame.
All because you wanted to keep Shane and Dable for consistency. Well, guess what, guys? We're going to consistently lose again next year.
Yeah, this is not the consistency you wanted.
No, no, not at all. So, and I never thought I'd be so upset about a defensive backs coach being fired, for the record. I never thought I'd have that day. That's how bad it's gotten as a Giants fan. That's how bad it's gotten. So,
sad.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.